Hello guys. Hey everybody, how's it going? Please let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, if you can see Yarek. Guys who are going to be streaming the game for... Oh, wait, the dev team is not starting soon. It's already started. Hello. Hey guys, just let me check what... Yeah, okay. So, welcome everybody to the pretty much very first, right? Ancestors Legacy DevStream. We're gonna be showing the game to you today. I got a couple points on my sheet of paper here. I don't know whether we're gonna be able to cover all of them. Hopefully. Of course, we also need your questions and your input. The main idea for this DevStream that we came up with is we've recently let a closed beta single player version of the game to some media influencers and actually we've invited quite a couple of people to play the game because we wanted their feedback, and we're very grateful. The feedback is here. We've heard a lot of things, we've seen a lot of things because a lot of people have posted their videos or have live streamed the game, and we got a couple conclusions, but most importantly, we got answers to a couple questions that people find unintuitive. And also, of course, some of the things that have inspired us to change in a game or modify or tweak, because this game is still in development. In case you don't know, Ancestors Legacy is going to be released in Q2 2018. Of course, that is going to be PC and Xbox One. It is all available on our website. There's an info comment in the chat right now, !info. The bot will give you all the information and all the links and everything that you need to move on. All right, so that was the housekeeping. My name is Tomek. I'm the producer. Behind me is Yarek. He's a creator of Destructive Creations, but that's not the reason why I asked for his help today. The main reason why I asked for his help today is to help me with playing the mission that we're going to be showing to you today. I mean, the main the mission is going to be very helpful with explaining a couple things that we need to explain to you. But apart from that, it's going to be Yarek has scripted this mission. He's designed and scripted pretty much this mission, so he's probably kind of the best guy to play it, at least decently. We'll see how it goes, but at least decently. And also, he's going to probably be showing you a couple things that a lot of people who have played the game or have shown the game to public in their videos, they might have not figured a couple things out. Okay, usually things like this start with disclaimers, and I have a very important disclaimer. The version of the game that you are seeing right now is primarily prepared for the Gamescom 2017 in Cologne this year. We were there, we were showing the game, a lot of people played the game as well, but this is a game, this is a version of the game, there's already a couple months old, and because of that, some things either have already been changed or will be very soon changed. The things that are most noticeable is the interface of the game. We have reworked that quite hard, quite thoroughly, and also some of the voiceovers are being redone and re-recorded. This is part of the feedback. Another part of the feedback is I'm going to be touching on that later on. So the mission that we're gonna play in the background or play as well and answer your questions and comment is Unexpected Allies. The build that we have in here right now is only three first missions of the game. Off the course is the very first mission of the game. It's very tutorial heavy, very linear. The second mission, Rebuilding Forces, is a very stealthy mission with a very small squad count. The Unexpected Allies mission is the first mission where users are being introduced with economy, sort of economy. It's not even full on. Not all of the elements of our economy are introduced in this mission, but the resource management, gathering and using the resources, it's introduced in this mission, and that's why we wanted to. It's also the least linear mission of all of these three available in here, but of course it still doesn't mean that it's the least linear mission in the game. There's so much I want to say. All right, let's move on. Let's start the mission. First, introduction to the mission shows you how we are telling the story. I think we don't have a sound. Oh gosh, wait. Please guys, let me know whether you can hear the sound from the game, because I can't. I know I can't, and I think I know why.
To join the rest of the expedition.
Got it.
However, the road to Lindisfarne was not an easy one. Every once in a while, we encountered Ethel's troops. Our supplies ran out faster than we were able to loot the surrounding villages. It was then that the scouts noticed an approaching caravan with food and weapons. We prepared an ambush, not expecting that someone else was preparing to attack it as well.
We're very proud of our team creating these hand-drawn cutscenes. They're all hand-drawn. Actually, the very first images that we use for this are physically drawn on paper with ink, in case you didn't know that. Then there's, of course, coloring, animation, a lot of stuff. There's sounding, of course. We'll get to that later. All right, Jarek is going to be starting the mission already in the background. Let's let him do his best. And a couple things that I wanted to mention is a lot of people might be mistaken about the fact what is the scope of the entire single-player campaign of Ancestors Legacy. So Vikings are only one of the factions that we're going to have in the game, only one of the 4 nations that we're going to have in the game. So what you are seeing right now is the very first 3 missions from 10 that are going to be available for Vikings only. And there is also going to be campaigns for Anglo-Saxons, or Brits, whoever wants to call them either way. Also Germans and Slavs. And that makes 40 missions in total. And of course this is only a single player part of the game. We already have a couple, if you guys want to know, probably we can touch on that later on. Touch on what are going to be the parts of history that we have chosen to portray for each faction of the game. All the hand-drawn cutscenes will be available in high-res desktop wallpapers later. A90999, quite probably, we don't know, we're happy to provide you with any assets that you might find useful. No worries. We can do that. We can do that. Okay, next thing. I wanted to also mention we're still in the intro informations that I have for you. Jarek is already... Jarek, please don't rush because we're gonna... we have a lot of things to say to people. Jarek is already starting the first part of the mission where he has a couple things to do. Some of them are optional, some of them are obligatory. You can choose which villages to plunder first and which to conquer, and so on and so on. But this already has been captured and released by some of the people that have played the game and shown, so you can find all of that on YouTube already. Apart from the single player, the game is going to have quite extensive multiplayer part and element already. And yes, this is before Gunpowder Age Junior, of course. So as Jacos asked, this game does not have guns. I mean, yeah. And one more thing that I want to touch, this is a single player closed or invite only, whatever we call this, beta. There will also be a multiplayer beta, and this second beta that we're gonna do, there's still plenty of time before the second quarter of 2018, so we still have time to you know, get feedback and fix and tweak. I don't want to say fix, I want to say tweak, adjust the game to the needs of people who play, and we will also be sharing with a lot of people the multiplayer component and getting feedback on that. It's probably even more important than single player. And just to tease a couple things that we're going to be doing, the single player part of the game is mainly gonna be a closed beta, at least for now. It's also a very old build for us. In terms of game development, this is ancient history. A couple months ago, the game is changing extensively. But for the multiplayer beta, it's gonna be more or less closed beta. Sooner or later we will probably want to test it or to get feedback from a wider audience, so it might become an open beta later on. We'll see. We're planning that, we're hoping for that, so this is what we want to do. Just in case you're wondering, in case you're curious, single player and multiplayer are as important. They're both the same important. Was this game inspired by Warband at all? Jarek, Warband?
Not exactly, not in the terms of gameplay.
Not in terms of gameplay,
But
yeah.
in terms of setting, yeah, I'm a big fan of Warband. Huge fan.
Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear Jarek. If not, I'm going to be repeating what he says. He's a fan of Warband, but gameplay was not inspired by Warband itself. I'm looking at my list right now. So this is single player. As I said, 40 missions. We're only showing 3 missions in this closed beta. We got a couple things that I extracted from all the videos and streams and articles as well that I've seen. By the way, once again, thanks. There was a lot of positive feedback, but also a lot of worries, a lot of concerns, and we're very grateful for these because we can tweak the game. And this is primarily the reason why we did this. That's a nice head you have on your shoulders. Thank you very much, Persadium. I guess. I figured out a couple things that were either not intuitive or not described very precisely in this version of the game. So one thing that we're going to be doing is, of course, giving a clear description of some of the things, but also what we're going to be doing, I want to also touch on a couple of topics. Will there be any base building or only squad base? Of course, Junior, there will be base building. This mission introduces a very basic economy management. You can see a resource bar at the top, and apart from that, this is the 3rd mission. The 4th mission already introduces elements of base building, and of course so there will be, and also it's a probably most important element of multiplayer. So this game uses base building quite heavily. All right, first thing, camera control. So there are 2 types of camera in Ancestors Legacy. What Jarek is using usually is the top-down camera. Sometimes he switches to action camera, as you can see right now. And a lot of people were wondering whether you can rotate the camera in Ancestors Legacy, the top-down camera. For example, like you could in Company of Honor. Again, Company of Heroes, for example. So you cannot do that in a top-down camera of Ancestors Legacy. We have action camera for that. But action camera is a camera where you don't physically control the troops, you don't give orders. This is a camera for being in the middle of the action, looking around. It's fully controllable, zoom in, zoom out, rotate, and so on. But for commanding your squads, we have top-down camera. This is a design decision. This is how we're doing that. So in case people are wondering, all right, I think I should touch on combat mechanics right now. Don't worry, guys, I will be trying to answer your questions right now, and also we're gonna have Q&A later on in case the chat has any questions. But before we do that, let me just run through the most important things that I think people find either unintuitive, misleading about this game. So I want to touch on that. Jarek is using traps, by the way. This is one of the items, the elements that you can build to get an element of surprise on the enemy. There are 2 types of traps. One of them is decreasing the combat effectiveness. It's cheaper, it's faster to build, but the other trap is more effective. It probably insta-kills at least part of the affected squad. Also, you need the enemy not to see the fact that you're building the trap, but that is probably obvious for any RDS fan. Combat mechanics. I think this is something that puts Ancestors Legacy aside from a lot of RTS gamers. That's why I wanted to touch on that. Are traps gay? No, Jacobs, I don't think traps are gay. I mean, probably if you genderize traps, if you... I don't know. To me, traps are not gay. To you, I don't know. Up to you. Maybe you should answer that question. Alright, guys, seriously, combat mechanics is something very important. Let's not get off the track here. Whenever you're seeing 2 squads fight, certain pawns, certain warriors from each squad are being matched with one another, and they actually perform animations of playing the combat. There's a lot of motion capture that we did for this because we wanted to match Spearman against Shieldman, against Berserker, axe-wielding guys, and so on and so on and so on. So they are all matched together. and these guys all have, you know, they have like, they play their own animations, so everything fits. And that's why squads are matched in combat, and also one of our design decisions is that guys who start fighting, the troops, the units that start fighting, they fight until one of these units dies. One of these units is defeated, like lethally defeated. There is a way to break out of combat for squads. You can use retreat. It's the red icon on the bottom of the table of the command bar in the right bottom corner of the screen. But this is kind of a penalty, because since our combat system bases on commitment, you are far better off planning your combat ahead and then engaging in combat, rather than engaging in combat and using retreat if you want to reposition your squad, because there are two types of retreat in Ancestors Legacy. First one is they just run a couple hundred meters away, and the distance depends on the morale of the squad. And the other one is they run all the way to the very base of the player, and this is even more punishing, I would say. But it's technically doable to break out of combat. What we, when we were designing the game, wanted to encourage in players is to learn to tactically prepare for combat and to send squads in a way that you want to carry out the entire fight between the troops. So first you manage which groups or which single units you send against particular squad. Like Jarek has split his troops right now, so that's one thing. If you want to go with the entire blob, you will be less effective. You still probably can do it. It will take longer, you'll have more casualties, but you can do it. But if you want to be effective, you might wanna split your troops. Also, maneuvering. Jarek has just used one squad to attack these enemy spearmen, if I'm not mistaken, from the front, and then he's taken the shieldman, was that, to attack, to perform a rare attack. There's the flanking, there's rare attack, there's charging, there's outnumbering. A lot of these play a role in not only the morale of the enemies, but also in the effectiveness. So commitment. It's a controversial design decision. We're aware of that, and we realize that for some players it will feel punishing. So one thing that we're doing right now is we're tweaking that to feel dynamic, but we do not want to withdraw from this decision, because we believe commitment is something very interesting and very cool as a feature in RTS game. What we're doing is we're thinking about making combat slightly faster. So a lot of people found fighting between two units taking a little bit too long. That's of course the impression, and this can be adjusted. We're working on that right now. A lot of people thinking that when you're walking with one squad, two squads are fighting, when you're walking by the side and your squad is pulled into combat, that is unfair. So we're also working on that, the responsiveness. There's a lot of stuff, so we're going to be tweaking that, but I just wanted to let you guys know up front that Ancestors Legacy is a game about commitment, about the combat system of Ancestors Legacy is about commitment. So combat mechanics, responsiveness, duration, right, I covered that. I also covered retreat mechanics, I think. Okay, let's sum up where Jarek is in a mission right now. Is about 1/3, about 40 maybe % of the mission. I think see on the minimap that he's captured both of the villages right now. So one of these villages is actually even optional. He's right now defeating or taking over the hostile soldier camp. This will not give him any resources, but should he skip it, because it's optional, should he not do it, these Anglo-Saxons that are stationed in here would later on try to reclaim the villages that we now own. So it's probably better to do what he does right now, but it's optional. Do what you want to do. Then next stage of this mission is going to be capturing iron mine. We right now have wood and food. These are basic resources for the upkeep. And later on, we will be, just soon, we will be capturing the iron mine, which will let us build or upgrade armor, which is the primary use of iron, armor of our troops. And then there's going to be a final battle in this mission. Let me just have a quick look at the chat. I probably should talk about leveling, but just in a second. You can make your squads face a certain direction. Yeah, you can. Okay. I like the rebuilding animation. There's actually something funny, because when Vikings conquer lands, they burn it, and then when they capture it, it's being rebuilt. It's so gamey, but I love it. I really love it. Okay. By the way, we wanna just a small thing I've noticed yesterday. I think Creative Assembly has announced a new game. It's one of the spin-off projects in the Total War series. We want to officially congratulate Creative Assembly for choosing a very, very interesting and cool period of history to portray in this game. This is something very similar to what we're doing right now. Vikings fighting Anglo-Saxons in a very similar timing to this. Probably not exact event that we are portraying in this first Viking campaign, which is right on Lindisfarne, but still, this is the same era. So Creative Assembly, we salute you. What I want to say, leveling. Each of your squads can level up, of course, within the... this is, by the way, a hidden part of the game. You can gather archer squad. You cannot recruit archers in this map, but if you look around, you can find a hidden archer squad, which is going to be very helpful right now. When you level up your squads, getting back on topic, you choose a specialization. Only the first time you level your squad, you choose specialization. It might differ depending on the type of squads. Melee combat, melee squads have different specializations to choose from than ranged squads. And also, where is the first person mod? Sorry, no. As much as we are FPS fans, there's not going to be an FPS mod in this game, at least not that we know of, at least not now. What year is this game set in? It depends on the chapter. Like, for example, this chapter that we're playing in here, sorry, the raid on Lindisfarne is year 793, and this is Vikings versus Brits. For example, the second campaign of Viking nation is going to be year 861, and this is going to be Vikings versus Slavs, and so on and so on and so on. There's also year 1066 I can see, and the latest year that we have, I think, it's the second German campaign, which is the year 1278. Times of Rudolf Habsburg. Anyways, getting back on topic. I could talk about, you know, these extensively a lot, but let's just focus on the thing at hand. Very interesting part of the game, a bridge. A very tactically heavy part of the game where you need to think what you're doing. And, I mean, you can make it in here using just a blob of soldiers and moving ahead. But the other is probably trying to be reasonably more effective and strategically sufficient, and he's doing the archers, very helpful, as I said. Right, leveling. So you choose specialization, and then your squads level up further on, and then you do not choose specialization later on because you choose it only one time. When you see the top banners, I mean, sorry, not top banners, but also top banners, but also banners of the individual squads. Let's break down what you can see on the screen on the banners. I think it's both. Let's focus on the banners above the heads of the warriors. So on top of the banner, you can see two bars. The top gray bar is morale. The second bar is health. Of course, number of pawns of warriors is represented by the number of chunks, and each chunk can be from green to red to even black, which means a warrior has died. And then, of course, the actual flag, the actual middle of the banner is type of the squad. The frame of the banner is the level of armor. You can have brown, silver, and gold. These are 3 tiers of armor. And on the bottom, you can see on the left side, left small circle is the level of the squad, the right circle is its specialization, and on top of that, you have the squad status effect Vikings on left and on right side. On left side are general statuses, like when you're in the bushes, you're not visible. When you're within trees, archers, it's tougher for archers to get to you. When it's raining, for example, archers have a smaller range, and so on and so on and so on. On the right side are combat related squad status effects, and these are more like attack, damage, defense, and so on and so on and so on. So this is the breakdown of what you can see on the banners. The top banners are similar, with one exception. There's no status effects on the top banners, and also the bottom middle of the banner is the status of each squad. Probably it's something very intuitive and familiar for, oh yeah, Ulf is a badass. He can, it's quite possible in good conditions for him to take on a small squad of soldiers single-handedly. But still, you have to care for your heroes. Heroes are a very interesting element of Ancestors Legacy. They have auras, which boost the morale of the nearby allied units. Also, they have unique skills. I think Ulf, the guy that we're seeing right now, he has this. But also he has, what does Ulf has? Rage or fear? Anyways, there are two heroes in here. Ulf has fear, while Godric, the other hero, has rage, and so on and so on. Different heroes will have different skills. Where was I? Let's see the chat. Hello chat, let's see what you guys are writing. Will there be a way to tone down the foliage or make it transparent as your units traverse through it? That's a tough one. I don't believe there's going to be a high variety of options for changing the amount of foliage in a game, but I think there will be level of detail, and that will influence the actual amount that you can see through the foliage. But I don't think there will be a way to remove foliage. We do not. Did you add animation with limb detachment or cut off? No, I don't think we have that in the game. By the way, it's Jarek said too much work. We're 25 people studio. We're 25 people team, and we're making a game that is very ambitious. That is it's going to be what, 30-40 hours of single player campaign plus multiplayer, 4 or actually even 8 very important historical events to portray. Each has a single his own dedicated campaign. There's also extensive multiplayer event, and we're doing this game for 2 platforms because that's PC and Xbox One. So this is as much as we can do. A team can do only as much. So there's quite a lot of things that we just had to say, this is too much for us, we can swallow. I assume morale works like in Warhammer 40k, Jarek?
Almost.
Almost.
Because they're actually damaging your combat abilities, and troops never retreat themselves. You have to order them to retreat.
Yeah.
But the squad with the 0 morale, they actually do hardly anything in combat.
Okay, so it's combat effectiveness, but squad will not auto retreat. You have to order the squad to retreat. I'm saying this in case you guys didn't hear Jarek, but I don't know whether you can hear or not. Will this game have siege weapons? Of course, Jacos. Of course. We will have ballista, we will have catapult. And well, actually, let me break down to you the type of squads that we have in the game. Should I go through the list? Do I have the list in here? Just, guys, give me a second. That might be very interesting because it's information we have not released before. So let me just open my external memory document here. So, Vikings have archers, berserkers, infantry, scouts, and spearmen. Scouts are the only mounted squads that Vikings have. And also they have, I think, ballistas. Jarek, do they have catapults? I think Vikings do not.
No, they only have
No, okay. Now, Brits, or Anglo-Saxons. A lot of people corrected me that I shouldn't say Brits. Forgive me, please. So they have archers, and the archers are like their specialty. They have huskarls, which are two-handed axe guys. Yeah, not two-handed. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, two-handed. No, we do not have dual-wielded squads. We have shieldmen, we have slingers, and we have spearmen as well. And of course there is ballista and catapult. They have catapults, right, Jarek? The Brits.
They don't have a cavalry.
They do not have cavalry. This is something that is characteristic for Anglo-Saxon. Then we have Germans, and Germans have archers, they have cavalry, they have crossbowmen, they have dual weapon guys, which is what the cleaver guys, and they have one, right? They're holding it with two hands, and then we have spearmen and what, ballista and catapult, Jarek?
I think they only have catapult.
They only have catapults. All right. And then there's Slavs, which is archers, cavalry, shieldmen and spearmen. And the coolest thing about, of course, siege machines as well. The coolest thing about Slavs is they are gonna have they're gonna have ranged cavalry, like mounted archers. This is something that is going to be very interesting, especially in multiplayer. They're going to have their own skills, and so on and so on and so on. And so on. What about the Chad trebuchet? Trebuchet.
We don't have trebuchet.
No. Is this like it's a shooting weapon, right?
Yes.
Oh no, it's a range. I know what trebuchet is. Just figure out. Sorry, I'm being dumb here. Oh, we got a badass in the chat. Please, no Nino, don't be salty. All right, what I was going, active pause. This build physically does not have active pause, but we will have active pause in the game. Actually, the internal builds that we have right now already do have that. Oh, traps. Your squads can detect traps when you switch to a defensive stance. Stance toggle is like your offensive, but you don't auto detect traps, and defensive one is you walk slower and you detect traps. For example, archers, when they're in defensive mode, they do not auto attack enemies on sight, which they do in offensive stance. Quite a lot of details and so on and so on. Where was I? Active pulse. Yeah, we will have that in a final game, and we already actually have that in our beta stages of the builds, internal builds in the game right now. Also, there is a command queue. Is it in here, Jarek? Can you? Yeah. So when you press, I think when you hold Shift, you can click multiple places and they go around. It's very of course useful for flanking enemies and for even performing rare attacks when you want to just go around your opponent and you make a queue of points. There will be fortresses. Yes, Nanino, we do plan sieges, we do plan fortresses, and I think there is also going to be a couple, please don't get me wrong, there's going to be like a million people fighting at the same time kind of battles, but there will be battles. There will be battles in this game. My team would kill me if I would promise you right now a typical large-scale battles from the RDS game. What we plan to do is, like, you as a player can have up to 10 units, 10 squads at the same time, and each one of them can have max of 10 soldiers, so it's 100 of soldiers, of warriors at the same time, and 10 commandable units, because you of course do not command single soldiers in this game. This is the last fight of this mission, and also where was I? Command queue. And one last thing, this build did not feature save system. We're still working on that. Of course, the final game will have save system, which means that longer missions, and I've noticed some people getting pissed off about that, or even rage quitting. We're sorry, seriously, we do not want you guys to get salty, because of the fact that some of the missions are relatively long and we gave you the build without actual save system. So that is something that will definitely be changed, fixed in the game. I think we're very close to the end of this mission. So there's gonna be this is the final battle. Jarek is trying not to use the blob of soldiers, but it's not easy, as you can see, but you have enough place to maneuver. Once you go through this very tight passage in here, you can actually engage soldiers before enemy soldiers, before they enter this small ravine, and you can try to separate them and attack from many directions. It might also be the first time that we're seeing the Huskarls in here. I'm not sure, but anyways, they're here anyways. And Huskarl is, well, arguably, but probably one of the best melee squads of Anglo-Saxons. I have not mentioned one thing: rock paper scissor, or rock paper scissor like system that we have in Ancestors Legacy. Each types of units are more or less effective against different types of units, like shielded guys. Shieldmen are the best contra against the spear guys, whereas the whereas the you see, even guys who make this game can be pissed off when they do not something perfectly. Now, like the shielded guys are effective, or the spear guys are effective against the axe guys, the berserkers, or so on and so on. So there's a system in here, but on top of that, of course, you get a lot of factors that influence the effectiveness of combat, like maneuvering, like stats, leveling up, and so on, skills as well. So there's a lot. All right. This is going to be a perfect time for questions, guys, if you have right now, because I think we've went through most of the questions that I remember from seeing from people who have posted their impressions on the closed beta. So chat, it's your turn right now if you have anything. Yarek is doing quite well. I can see that he's had a lot of casualties, but there's like 2 squads left. Are you retreating with archers?
Yep.
Okay.
For a moment.
Okay. Oh, and we're done. So the one last thing that he needs to do in here is to destroy the actual buildings, the base. And this is the 3rd mission of the campaign, which goal is to conquer Lindisfarne. It's a very famous historical event where Vikings have conquered a famous British abbey called Lindisfarne, and it is considered to be the beginning of Viking raid era. It lasted, I think, 300 years or so. Will there be creatures of Nordic mythology? Nope, no, no. One thing that we want to mention, stress, and be very clear about is this game is history inspired. This is not a fantasy game. What we are attempting to be is a game that portrays historical reality. So there's not going to be fantasy or supernatural, call it what you will, elements in this game. But there will be elements of Nordic history, Nordic tradition, not only Nordic. One thing that I wanted to mention as well, all factions, all nations will have their ways to enhance, to grow, and to expand. Like, leveling up is only just one part. We will have... Yay! Chapter complete. I think we can...
1,000 times.
I know. What is the easiest chapter for you to go? Maybe the first one. It's the very opening of the game. We can also go through this one.
I'll show it.
Yeah, of course.
Along with the intro? Alright, let's show them the intro. Whatever.
How much time did you... Oh, yeah. Okay, let's switch this first.
On June 5th, 793, a storm was approaching the shores of the Kingdom of Northumbria. A few months earlier, Althing, the Council of Vikings, made the decision to plunder its largest abbey, the famous Lindisfarne. One of the leaders of this expedition was Jarl Ulf Ironbeard, a stern but respected man among his people. However, it wasn't meant for all of the Northmen to reach Lindisfarne by the sea. A storm that hit the coast of Northumbria has scattered some of their ships miles away from their destination. Ulf's raiding party landed near a town called Bamborough. The Northmen saw it as an easy target to plunder. Little did they know that all of Northumbria was just coming out of a bloody civil war. Troops of a new King Ethelred were battling remnants of recently murdered King Osred's royal army. For this reason, heavy garrisons were scattered throughout the country, and one of them was stationed just outside Bamborough.
All right, a couple questions in chat in the meantime. By the way, we've just decided that we'll play this mission with a controller. It's working simultaneously. You can choose whether you want to play keyboard or keyboard and mouse and controller. We tried to make controller. Oh, this is the intro. I'll turn the camera. I'll keep rambling about, but I'll just let you watch.
Everyone knows it, man.
Not everyone, but you might have seen this. This is the very first reveal trailer that we've released. It's actual in-game, in-engine, real-time, real-deal cutscene, not pre-rendered. Anyways, the gamepad controls for Ancestors Legacy is something that's being worked on from the very beginning. Also from the very beginning we knew that it's a game for consoles as well. So this is not something that we do as a port, as an extra task. It's working simultaneously all the time. So a couple things about it. You can play each mission on a PC with a controller. I think the gamepad controls are quite intuitive. I'm sorry, you're gonna see them in just a second. Also, it's possible to play multiplayer, of course, like if we're a console game, that wouldn't be any other way, I guess. If you want to play against different types of controllers, like a gamepad guys want to play a keyboard and mouse guys, that is possible. You can do that as well. But I'm just warning you. We're just saying that ahead. It might be a different difficulty. Like it was pretty much like you were playing FPS game. One guy was playing keyboard and mouse, and the other was playing a controller. You can only imagine that this would not be exactly the same kind of difficulty, because maneuvering the game with a controller requires a little bit more precision, a little bit more moving your fingers. And what I'm saying is you cannot exactly give the uber micro skills on the controller. And we did it differently. You're gonna see it in just a second, how Jarek is gonna be using his control to play this mission. But I think it's very well. I actually prefer playing this game with a controller. I really like it. But I'm guessing all the hardcore RDS fans are gonna be playing with keyboard and mouse. God damn it, always.
He always dies, man.
I know. Anyways, Adam Skorupa and Krzysztof Wierzynkiewicz are the composers of the music for this game. You might already have heard about these guys. They composed music for Witcher series, for Witcher 1, Witcher 2 as well. A lot of other games, of course, but just in case you wonder, is this a composer that I've heard about? Yeah, you might have. Alright. So this is what gamepad controls look like, for now at least. We're going to be changing that, of course, and adjusting for the new look and feel of the interface, but the actual mechanics are going to be the same. Now, back to questions that we have in a chat. Where there'll be fortresses, there will be... No, that was already... Now, do squads improve when they level up? Hit points, damage? Of course they do. Of course they do. Jarek, what improves when you level up a squad? Just a bare level up.
Defensive skill, attack skill, speed, accuracy, those are archers, or speed of shooting, those are archers.
That's quite a lot. Right. So that's quite a lot. That's the answer to your question, Junior. In regards to building, will we be able to build massive fortresses? Nope. Our idea is to build settlements. You have bases or camps. This game is about building... there's more like tents or small buildings, but we do not build actual cities or fortresses in this game. That's what this game was designed to do. Of course, but they're there, like you can conquer an actual, I don't know, a fortress. You just do not build there. This is not a city builder. This is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Any free mode or only missions? Asatur asks. So, Asatur. So there will be skirmish mode. Like, of course, apart from single player and multiplayer, since we are working hard to also have an AI in the game, we already have that in the game, but we're still working on that. There will be a way to play quasi-multiplayer, but with an AI, so that is probably what you guys understand as a free mode or as a skirmish mode. We will have that in the game. At least we do plan to have that in the game. I think it's going to be So how come Vikings, who are master sailors, keep sailing straight into rocks, thinking, Jacobs? They, the actual story of this campaign is the storm. The first mission is off the course. They were the entire army of Vikings that were storming Lindisfarne was separated, and these guys are trying to get to the shore, to land on the shore anywhere they can, because they want to join with their troops. This is a command circle, very characteristic element of the gamepad interface, by the way. And so they do not usually land on rocks, but in here, in Bambara, as you can see this place, they do not probably have a lot of choice. I was supposed to say about something, Yarek, and I forgot about it. Jeez, I don't remember what was that. Hey, we have an actor in the chat, the real Mao Cat. I just heard my voice in the game, so cool. Awesome, which one? Which one is that? Real Mao Cat. Are you Ulf? Are you Spearman? Are you one of the Anglo-Saxons? Interesting. I played a few guys in there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Very happy you could join us on the stream. Yeah. Viking ally. Okay, I know which one. I know. It's like Olaf and the shield bearers, so you are the shield bearers. It's probably the lowest voice that we have, I'm thinking. Very cool, very cool. Guys, I do not have any more points to cover right now. Questions? If not, we're gonna be wrapping that up. The last part, this is the most, since this is the very first mission of the entire game, there is a lot of things are being linearly introduced to the players, like skills, like elements of the gameplay. For example, squads cannot retreat in here. This is the very last comment that you do in this mission. Spoiler, spoiler, you lose in this mission. So this is the linear way of how we introduce mechanics, but there's gonna be a thing for only a couple missions of the game. Later on you have everything unlocked because we just wanted to, you know, introduce that. Shield bearer, yeah. What made you guys work on a strategy game? It's a bit of departure from shooters like Hatred and IS. Yarek, why strategy game?
Because there are not too many.
I think it's a very good reason. We're pretty confident with what the market is going to be around when we release the game, which is Q2 2018. Not only there's not going to be a lot of strategy games releasing at that time, but also the kind of niche that we have is like a historically based strategy game, and we're confident that we're gonna stand out, and also we're gonna be releasing on console as well. I think there's gonna be a very few competition in there, so I think it's a good choice. But this is more like a business level of things. The actual passionate level of things is like majority of our dev team are huge fans of RDS, whether it's a very fast-paced RDS like StarCraft or so, or slower ones, single-player ones like Company of Heroes. There's a lot of us in here that really love playing this game, so we just wanted to make a game like this. And yeah, Yarek is usually very sleeping in the morning because he plays a lot of Total War at nights. So yeah. Which faction is your least favorite? The plundered Brits or the virgin Slavs? Least favorite? That's a tough question. I could probably easily name my most favorite, but least? I don't know. Yarek?
No idea.
No idea. Yeah, we'll probably have our favorites, but least favorites? Shoosh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, Jacobs. Okay. So Yarek is burning a church right now. And after he's done that, we're gonna see the last part of this mission. The Anglo-Saxons have reinforcements, And these are going to be very tough soldiers. These are leveled up, as you can see already, because armor of the squads is being represented by the models. You can see that these are tougher guys. So something you might also have been wondering about. And Yarek is probably going to be using strategically the layout of this location because there's a tough gate and he's got a couple squads, so he's going to try to block them.
I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna do it.
My axe is ready. Let's go.
I only see archers attacking buildings, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Do melee units also attack buildings? And if melee units attack, then do the buildings also catch fire? And will the units also burn? Units will not burn, but everybody attacks the building. Should you command them to? I think you might have missed it because it's most definitely Yarek was using melee units to attack buildings. What they do is they pull torches and throw torches at the buildings because they also set buildings on fire. Every single unit can attack a building to destroy it, to set it on fire. Archers shoot very infamous, I know that it's questionable and controversial, flaming arrows, while melee units just throw torches. I still have it in the back of my head. There was one... Oh, yay! We got a floating guy. So you see, action camera. Very important thing for us because we think it looks very cool to be able to get that close, but it exposes bugs. We had to say, okay, what can we do? There are bugs, and then usually RTS games are not designed to have that close look at the battlefield, at the middle of the action. So there are things that usually be obscured or less noticeable, but in this case we said action camera is just something that we want to have, even if some people are going to see more bugs in here. So we're sorry, but we know it's going to happen. We made a better combat mechanic than Total War, says Bursadium. I would not, but then again, we can only say thank you. But this is a tall one. No, probably not better than Total War. Are more developer streams planned in near future, says A909. Maybe, I guess, hopefully, kinda, we would like to, we'll see. Why not? This is the very first developer stream that we... This is actually the very first stream of this Twitch channel. We'd like to. If there's gonna be more questions, more inquiries, we will... Oh yeah! Ulf is gonna die. Haha! It's very tough to lose this mission, but Yarek is even very good at this. Anyways, no, let's not spoil it. Let's see if he dies. We were very, very close to...
I was too cocky with him, so...
Come on, Yarek, let's see if there are more questions. If not, we're gonna be wrapping up the stream. Right, guys. Last round of questions, if you have any. If not, we're gonna wrap up the first Ancestors Legacy developer stream.
Hello.
This is how we look like. This is what our office looks like, or at least part of it. We're just a bunch of normal guys and trying to make a kick-ass game, or at least a decent game, or at least a game that doesn't suck. Yeah, let's see.
Once the game is released, are you going to keep developing more content for it? Yes, we actually do have plans about them, but I won't spoil a thing. And I don't want to promise anything because it may happen that this game will sell badly and we're not gonna make anything for it.
We do not want it, you do not want it, I hope. But things like this happen. This is a business world and it's a free market. And when you sell your game, you know, a lot of things you have to decide on whether you have money to work on next things. And we do want to work. Like, for example, okay, one more. Anyways, we have to touch on that. PS4. We would love to work on PS4. We're fans of PS4, guys. I have this one right here because I play a lot on PS4, but we're not developing PlayStation 4 version right now. We would love to do it later on.
I see the question, will players be able to make their own campaigns? We want to release the mod support actually, as we did for Hatred, but we are pretty sure that it won't be on the release date because there is a lot of things to be prepared to make a mod support, but when we will make it, is just using Unreal Engine 4 because the game is running on Unreal Engine 4. So if anybody has any experience with Unreal Engine, he shouldn't have any problems. So yes, we plan to do this. Kinda.
We would like to, but this is yeah. Bunny heads for Vikings.
Bunny heads for Vikings.
Oh, like DLCs.
Be sure to make 100 DLCs. Yeah, I believe you guys love them. Yeah. I do
Probably
love
one thing that you will not be able to see in Ancestors Legacy is horned helmets for Vikings. We do not believe these actually were a thing in a Viking era. That's why we're trying to portray them the way they actually.
What does Yarrick smell like? Like the whole day at work, man.
Yes, yes. We're just it's right now 6 p.m. in Gliwice in the city where our studio is in, so we're pretty much wrapping up our day of work. No extensive crunch time yet, at least. So, and cheers to that, so that it stays this way. Okay. Will there be handmaidens? Handmaidens?
Shield maidens.
Yeah.
No, and actually the reason is actually that we are too small, because if you want to have a woman fighting in these lines in the game, you would have to make them the proper animations recorded by the female warriors, and it is a lot of work, and we're just too small for it. So no, there won't be women, but there will be women peasants you can kill. So if you like women,
don't kill them. Women are like smaller men. No, I think you're mistaking women with dwarves.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's the same thing, Barsadium. All right, guys. I think that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the wrap up of the very, very first of Ancestors Legacy dev streams. Oh yeah, Jacobs is thinking whether he has any more questions. Let's see. If not, we are hoping to see you. We're hoping to see you maybe on the next dev streams. If you would like them, then we'll probably make them. If not, we're definitely gonna be seeing you guys in the multiplayer beta of the game. It might, I mean, I just don't want to promise anything, but it quite probably will be becoming public sooner or later. Probably not this year, but there will be a closed part of the multiplayer beta of the game, and probably then we're gonna see you guys, everybody, on the servers of the game. So yeah, I saw that Heavy Saxon Knights had axes. Are they going to have long swords in the main version?
No, actually...
Depends on the squads.
No. There are no long swords.
Oh, long swords, you're right. No, there are no two-handed swords. Yeah.
No, long swords are not two-handed swords.
You're right.
I don't know if this guy knows it, but...
I know. I'm not very good at this.
They, as far as I know, they weren't actually used back then, because... No. So... The big weapon of our choice is the Danish axe. And this is the big axe. Big fucking axe. What?
Does multiplayer use dedicated server, or is it peer-to-peer? It's pretty much both. We definitely will have listen servers, but on top of that we are implementing actual dedicated servers. We're working on that, so the plan is to have that in the game. I think it's very important for multiplayer.
It is.
To have dedicated servers, yeah.
Right.
Alright guys, thank you very much. Have a good
Thanks.
one. Cheers. Thanks for dropping by to our dev stream. To anybody who has not seen it before, it's definitely... I'm talking to guys who are seeing the stream about not seeing the stream. I'm stupid. Anyways, we are gonna archive it on the YouTube, on Destructive Creations YouTube anyways. And thanks. And cheers.
See ya.
Bye.